Everyone wants you to forget about this news. Everyone wants you to just pretend like this doesn't exist. But I'm here to remind you, don't forget. Welcome back, everyone. We are here to talk about some very exciting news. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, a game. Remember, we saw a little preview of it. We saw you could have the masks on, half the masks off. It looked amazing. We got a trailer. And then nothing. Crickets. I was even like, what is happening with that? It's like the Wolverine game. Every now and then it just comes up in my mind and I think, oh yeah, that's still happening. Wonder what's going on with that. Well, we just got a little bit of news on it that I had to share with you because it's pretty important stuff. This is coming from Khary Payton, who is the actor who is going to be playing Black Panther in it. Obviously, this isn't T'Challa Black Panther, as this is 1943. This is actually T'Challa's grandfather who's in it, Azzuri the Wise, as he is also known in the comics. And he had an interview with The Direct at Multicon, and they did a whole article on it. You can also watch the interview as well. I'll put a link to that article in the video description and down in the pinned comment if you want to check it out. But basically, Khary was asked about the status of this game, what's happening with it, when will we see it? And guess what? He gave us an answer. I don't know. I hope that he doesn't get in trouble for this. But I watched the interview and he sounded pretty confident, so I think this is stuff he's allowed to say. 1943 is going to be happening with Skydance New Media and Marvel Games, and Khary told us that we should still be expecting to see it late 2025, around the Christmas holiday season, which means that it could get a release, as they say in the article, of October or November so that people can, buy it as a gift for people for the holidays. And I think this will probably be a game that you would want to get people based on the way that Khary talks about it. He sounds so excited. Also, if you don't know Khary Payton, he's done a bunch of things. You might also recognize his voice as Black Samson in Invincible, which is pretty exciting. So he's got a lot going on. I think he was also in Walking Dead. Basically, I feel like Robert Kirkman, once he sees someone and likes them, he's just like, just get them back for any other project I do. Obviously understandable, considering that even just the little bit I've seen of Payton as Black Panther in 1943 looks like it's going to be amazing. So this is a game that we should be expecting to see, he says, hopefully around Christmas. And the reason why you want to get it for your loved ones is because he said that the goal for the game is kind of to have it not just be a game that you want to play. It's a game that like your friends, your family might want to join you on the couch to watch you play it. It's got a cinematic quality to it, which is what they're going for with it. So it's going to feel like a whole production, like a whole show or whole movie probably. And I definitely got that vibe from what I've seen of it. So I'm really excited for the story elements of it. The other thing I'm excited for in regards to the story, because some people might not know about 1943 that much, so I just thought I would expand a little bit on what this story is really about and the touchstones that we have on it from the comics. So 1943 sounds like it's going to be an adaptation of another incident that happened in the 2005 Black Panther series that is actually later expanded upon in a mini-series. So this mini-series is Captain America Black Panther Flags of Our Fathers. It happened in 2010, and it is a mini-series that expands a fight that we see between Azzuri and Steve Rogers, Captain America, back during war times where they're fighting Nazis who basically have invaded Wakanda. So that's what's happening in the miniseries. The miniseries expands on, a one-time fight that we see that tends to be a little bit more sided on sort of it's more Azzuri weighted in the Black Panther comic, but in the miniseries they expand upon it a little bit and really go into the conflict, the butting of heads between Steve and between Azzuri, and also how they resolve that and actually come out a lot stronger. They come out as friends. They team up together to sort of deal with the Axis, and initially it's very interesting. It's from a place where Black Panther in this, Azzuri, he feels that he doesn't really need to be as involved because he is just focused on Wakanda. But there's a reason for that. It's not actually him being selfish. It's because he feels that in order for Wakanda to really achieve their full potential and be able to help the world at large, they have a future that they are trying to get towards, and getting involved in other conflicts is going to mess them up in that way. So it's not just about their own self-interest, it's also about working towards a future that will be better for everyone done in terms of what they can provide as time goes on. Obviously, also Wakanda, I believe, is secret at this time, so that's also part of it. But the side of America, Captain America's side of this conflict, is that he really wants to see Azzuri join this fight because he sees the potential for what Wakanda and Black Panther can do for the conflict. Ultimately, both of these characters realize that the other is a symbol for their country. And just like how Steve is a symbol for America, Black Panther is a symbol for Wakanda. This is also the place where Steve actually gets his new shield design. He's actually inspired by a design that Azzuri has, and so the circle shield with all the circles around it is later established at the end of the mini as being inspiration from a friend of his from Africa, which is obviously Azzuri, which I thought is super cute. And if you don't know, before Cap had that like old school like shield, like it looks like a medieval shield kind of. So yeah, it's a really interesting miniseries. It is also done by the writer who was working on the 2005 Black Panther series, which is Reginald Hudlin. And we also have art here by Dennis Cowan. So a very amazing, I think, team that we have together here creatively to bring us the series. And it looks and feels just really great. And it's not so long. In 2020, I think it was also free. I don't know if it's still free on Marvel Unlimited, probably not, but it's only like a 4-issue mini. You could maybe also get it in a trade. You can definitely read it on Marvel Unlimited though if you wanted to check it out. Granted, I think when it comes to the 1943 video game that we're getting here, Rise of Hydra, I do think it's going to be a different adaptation of this story. So I just also want to add on the fact that although, you know, in Flags of Our Fathers, we have the Howling Commandos and it's in Wakanda and we're fighting against the Axis. I think we're still going to be seeing that conflict with the Axis versus allies, but it's going to be a little bit more open in terms of where we're at. So I think while there's still going to be that conflict between Azzuri and Steve, and we're still going to see that evolution of their relationship, I'm wondering what angles they want to bring to that in terms of why these two are on different sides. I think it also might be implied that instead of being inspired by Azzuri and creating a new shield for himself after losing his old one in the conflict, here he may have stolen his shield or stolen the vibranium to make the shield or something like that, because I'm pretty sure when we saw that clip initially of, you know, the characters with their masks off and the conflict scene that they have on the bridge, Black Panther says to Cap that that shield doesn't belong to him. So did he steal that shield? So the other thing that I really love about this game and that I'm really intrigued by is not only is it taking inspiration from a conflict that leads to a lifelong friendship that also leads to modern day comics in terms of Steve's relationship with T'Challa in comics today, who are really close if you didn't know. But the other thing that I love about it is that it's bringing us a fresh direction, a fresh perspective on a story like that. So while I am familiar with, you know, this relationship from the comics, I'm very excited to see how it evolves in terms of the game. And I'm also excited to see if, you know, in Doomsday, when I was talking about, I did a video on Doomsday. If you guys haven't checked it out, we talked about some of the leaked concept art and what that tells us or potentially could tell us about Doomsday. I was talking about how one of the characters that we see there kind of made me think of Azzuri in terms of Black Panther, and I'm wondering if even this game might have some MCU implications as well, because in the interview, Khary was also asked about, you know, will there be connections, sort of, will there be Easter eggs and stuff like that? And Khary just said we're going to be traveling around a lot, so don't think it's all just going to be in a coffee shop in Paris. We are going to move with the game, which isn't really an answer as to how it's connected to the MCU, but the fact that he didn't say no makes me think, could that be a connection? And especially with sort of what I was picking up from that Doomsday concept art. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens, but I just wanted to remind you that this game is still happening. I think the reason why they're not really talking about it a lot in terms of the news and the media and aren't talking about where they're at with it too much publicly is because they just don't want to fall into the trap of, I feel when you have a game that's that much in the public eye, fans then are going to demand, like, we want to see it. Like, it's been, you know, I think they've been working on this game for over 5 years at this point, or around 5 years. So if we start getting too excited about it, that's going to put pressure on the people that are making the game, which could mean that investors will put pressure on them to release it before it's finished. And I really feel that it is a smarter tactic to kind of just stay quiet about it until you really are ready to put into motion the release of the game. Then you can start hyping it, then we can start getting excited. They can put their finishing touches on and release it. The fact that they're taking their time makes me think that this is going to be a really amazing game, especially based on what I've seen of it already, and that already impressed me. So I can't wait, and Khary sounds so excited about it, so I can't wait to see the game and see more of his performance in it, and hopefully we will see it later this year. However, keep in mind, with a late 2025 release, I always think to myself, that means that there is also a chance that it could get just like pushed to 2026, because it's so late in the year. We do see a lot of games get those delays that are supposed to come out around Christmas, right? So we'll see if it happens this year, but I would love if it did, because I am very excited for this game, but not at the penalty of it, you know, not being finished. Definitely let's let them cook, I would say. I'm down to wait as long as they need for an amazing story and an amazing gaming experience. That's all from me, and just wanted to remind you that this is happening. Also, I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, and I was really excited about this news. Let me know what you're thinking about 1943 Rise of Hydra, and what you're thinking about, you know, even the relationship in the comics between Steve and Black Panther. Were you familiar with it? Were you not? Do you want to hear more about maybe their story together? I would love to go through and read Flags of Our Fathers and then give you my thoughts on that, if that's something you'd be interested in, because there is a really rich history there that I just feel maybe not as many people know about when it comes to the relationship between Black Panther and Captain America. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you down in the comments. And like I said, I did do that video on Doomsday, so if you haven't checked it out yet, feel free to click over here and check that out. We go in depth on some stuff. I'll see you next time, and until then, friends, stay nerdy. Bye!